A dangerous new chapter is unfolding in the South China Sea, a region that has long been a flashpoint for international tensions and rival ambitions. The world's eyes are now fixed on these contested waters, where the stakes have never been higher. On January 22, 2026, the Japanese destroyer JS Akizuki sailed toward the Philippines, not for a routine visit, but as a bold statement of intent. This was a calculated move, signaling Japan's willingness to step beyond its traditional boundaries and play a more assertive role in regional security. Japan, long bound by a pacifist constitution since the end of World War II, is now projecting military power in support of the Philippines, which is locked in a tense and dangerous struggle with China over these highly contested waters. This marks a significant shift in Japan's post-war identity and its approach to regional alliances. This single deployment sends shockwaves across Asia, signaling a dramatic escalation in a simmering conflict that has already drawn in multiple nations. The presence of a Japanese warship so close to disputed territory is a message that cannot be ignored. The world is watching closely. This is more than a regional dispute. It's a test of international law, a challenge to the established order, and a preview of the power dynamics that will define the 21st century. The decisions made here could set precedents for conflicts far beyond Asia. At stake are not just lines on a map, but vital shipping lanes that carry trillions of dollars in trade each year, the livelihoods of millions who depend on these waters, and the fragile peace of a region shadowed by China's rise and Japan's reawakening. The economic and human costs of conflict here would be immense. The deployment of a Japanese warship has turned what was once a complex diplomatic chess match into a high-stakes standoff, with the potential for miscalculation or escalation at any moment. This moment is the result of years of rising tensions, marked by repeated confrontations, diplomatic protests, and a steady buildup of military assets in the region. China has built artificial islands, militarized them with airstrips and missile systems, and used its coast guard to harass Filipino vessels, asserting its sweeping claims over nearly the entire sea. The Philippines, under President Marcos Jr., has pushed back with renewed determination, refusing to cede its rights or be intimidated, rallying both its people and international support. Now, with Japan's direct involvement, the dynamic has fundamentally changed. The alliance between Tokyo and Manila is sending a clear signal that the status quo will be challenged, and that new partnerships are emerging to counterbalance China's influence. The question remains, will this bold move stabilize the region and deter further aggression, or will it light the fuse on a powder keg, plunging the South China Sea into deeper crisis? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: the world cannot afford to look away. To understand today's crisis, we must look back. The South China Sea has long been a crossroads of commerce, but in the 20th century, it became a battleground for national claims. China's sweeping nine-dash line overlaps with the exclusive economic zones of the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Brunei, fueling disputes. The Philippines and Japan, once adversaries, are now partners, united by concern over China's rise and disregard for international norms. China and Japan's rivalry is deep, marked by history and strategic mistrust. In 2016, the Philippines won a landmark legal victory at The Hague, rejecting China's claims. Beijing dismissed the ruling, refusing to comply. This rejection of international law created a vacuum, one now being filled by military posturing and new alliances. Legal victories mean little without the power to enforce them. The JS Akizuki's deployment is a calculated move, signaling a new era in Japan's maritime strategy. This advanced destroyer, equipped with state-of-the-art technology, is not just patrolling the waters, it's making a statement about Japan's growing confidence and willingness to project power beyond its shores. Japan's defense ministry framed it as a commitment to a free and open Indo-Pacific, emphasizing the importance of stability, rule of law, and freedom of navigation in these contested waters. This narrative aligns Japan with other regional democracies seeking to counterbalance rising tensions. Officially, the destroyer is there for joint patrols and training with the Philippine Navy, strengthening interoperability and trust between the two forces. But beneath the surface, the real message is clear. This is a show of deterrence, aimed squarely at Beijing's expanding influence in the South China Sea. This marks the most significant step yet in the deepening Tokyo-Manila security partnership. reflecting a shared commitment to regional peace and mutual defense. Recent agreements now allow troop deployments and joint operations, paving the way for more integrated military activities and rapid response to regional threats. Japan has supplied the Philippines with patrol vessels and advanced radar systems in the past, but this is the first time a Japanese warship is actively operating on the front line, marking a historic shift in Japan's defense policy. China responded swiftly, sending its own frigates to shadow the Akizuki. This move has created a tense three-way standoff at sea, highlighting the fragile balance of power and the potential for escalation in the region. This maneuver reflects Japan's shift from a strictly defensive posture to a more assertive security role, demonstrating its readiness to take on greater responsibility for regional stability. Under Prime Minister Kishida, Japan has increased defense spending and reinterpreted its constitution, allowing for a broader range of military activities and a more proactive stance in international security affairs. The Akizuki's mission marks Japan's return as a major security player in Asia, signaling to allies and rivals alike that Japan is prepared to defend its interests and contribute to the region's security architecture. In diplomacy, words can be as powerful as warships. Philippine President Marcos Jr. hailed the Japanese deployment as a landmark for the alliance, vowing to defend the nation's rights. Japan's Prime Minister Kishida emphasized the mission's defensive nature and commitment to the rule of law at sea. Beijing, meanwhile, denounced the move as a provocation, warning of revived militarism and regional instability. Chinese state media sought to isolate Japan and the Philippines, painting them as disruptors and Western puppets. The U.S. has vocally supported the alliance, reaffirming its defense commitments and condemning China's expansive claims. Washington's backing emboldens Tokyo and Manila, adding complexity to the region's strategic calculus. The diplomatic battle is now as fierce as the naval standoff. The world waits to see who will blink first. This deployment redraws Asia's strategic map. The old US-centered hub-and-spokes model is giving way to a new network of alliances, like the Japan-Philippines partnership. These mini-lateral arrangements are more resilient and less dependent on Washington's every move. For China, this is a setback. Its divide-and-conquer strategy is being challenged by a united front. Instead of intimidating neighbors, Beijing's pressure is forging new alliances that complicate its ambitions. The U.S. now encourages allies to share the security burden, turning a bilateral rivalry into a coalition effort. The Akizuki's advanced capabilities change the tactical equation, deterring low-level harassment. Any clash could now escalate into a major international crisis. The stakes are higher than ever. The South China Sea is now a chessboard with global consequences. The South China Sea is an economic lifeline for the world. 1/3 of global maritime trade, over $3 trillion, passes through these waters, including vital energy supplies. Any conflict here would send energy prices soaring and disrupt global supply chains. For Japan, securing these sea lanes is existential. For China, they are equally vital. Both nations risk their own prosperity by escalating tensions. Investors are already wary, and companies are diversifying supply chains to avoid the region. The Philippines may gain from closer ties with Japan but risks Chinese economic retaliation. Southeast Asian nations are caught between China's economic gravity and US-Japan security guarantees. The economic fallout is real and growing. The world's prosperity is now tied to the fate of these contested waters. Across Asia and beyond, both experts and everyday citizens are closely watching the unfolding events, each weighing the stakes and implications in their own way. The atmosphere is charged with debate, concern, and hope for stability. Dr. Ewan Graham, a leading voice in security studies, describes Japan's recent move as a true watershed moment. He sees it as clear evidence that Tokyo is stepping up as an active security player in the region, no longer content to remain on the sidelines. According to Graham, this shift could reshape the balance of power in Asia. Meanwhile, Li Wei, a respected professor in Beijing, offers a starkly different perspective. He warns that Japan's actions represent a dangerous escalation, one that he believes is largely driven by the US strategy of containing China's rise. Li cautions that such moves could increase tensions and instability. Instead, Li argues, the only sustainable path to peace lies in open dialogue and negotiation, not in the formation of new military alliances or shows of force. In the Philippines, public opinion is mostly supportive of Japan's stance, especially among fishermen who have faced harassment from Chinese vessels in disputed waters. For them, Japan's involvement brings hope for greater security and international backing. Yet, beneath the surface, anxiety persists. Many ordinary Filipinos worry about being caught in the crossfire between powerful nations. They long for jobs, stability, and peace, not the threat of war or economic disruption. Across Southeast Asia, government leaders have welcomed Japan's more assertive stand, seeing it as a potential counterbalance to China. However, they also express concern about the risks of intensifying great power competition in their region. Most ASEAN nations are determined to avoid being forced to choose sides between China and the US-Japan alliance, hoping to maintain their independence and regional stability. But with Japan's recent naval deployment, that delicate balancing act is becoming increasingly difficult, raising new questions about the future of regional security. The future of the region may well depend on how these shifting alliances and rivalries evolve in the coming years, and whether diplomacy can keep pace with military developments. Around the world, newsrooms are following every development, while in Asia, the people whose lives are most directly affected watch with hope, fear, and uncertainty, knowing that the outcome will shape their future. Beyond strategy, this conflict is deeply human. For Filipino fishermen, the West Philippine Sea is their livelihood and heritage. Now, they face constant intimidation, chased by Chinese ships, blocked from traditional grounds. The Japanese warship brings hope, but daily fear remains. A fisherman from Zambales might say, "This is our water. We're just trying to feed our families." Coastal communities live with uncertainty. Young people question their future. Local economies struggle, and national pride mixes with helplessness. The Akazuki's arrival is a symbol of resistance and a reminder of the dangerous world they inhabit. These human stories are why the dispute matters. It's about the right to live and work in peace, free from coercion. The fate of small boats in these waters is a barometer for the region's future. We stand at a pivotal moment. The Japanese warship's deployment marks the end of Japan's strategic restraint and the start of a new contested era in Asia. The risk of miscalculation is real. A single incident could spiral into crisis. Will this move deter aggression or provoke escalation? Watch the interactions at sea, the diplomatic maneuvers, and the reactions of other regional players. The answers will shape the future. The JS Akazuki now patrols the West Philippine Sea, a symbol of a changing world. Its mission forces us to confront questions about power, sovereignty, and peace. The global order is fragile and must be defended. What do you think should happen next? What's Spafin Nutters?